Have you seen that replay, buddy?
All right, man, I'm done talking to you.
You can't be done talking to me right here facing me.
I back. Trust me, I back.
Dana! 60 G's, baby!
But I'm not impressed by your performance.
It's normal. Come on, guys. It's normal.
You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing.
I'm the man of the hour, Joe. Too sweet to be sour. What you see is what you get, and what you don't is better yet. I'm the women's pick. I'm the men's regret. And if you win against Chael Sonnen, you made a bad bet.
I don't have much left to say other than you have seen nothing yet.
What's happening, Fight Week Show fans, Fight Week Show people? We are back with another episode, and as you can see, my name ain't all work, Andy. I'm just hijacking the show today. Our brother in arms feeling a bit under the weather, so I'm taking over. That's it. We're taking over, boys. He ain't coming back. So let's get into it. Tonight I am joined, as always, by a brother in South Africa, Yao. How are you doing, my man?
Salute, kick him in the head. I'm doing fantastic tonight. Thanks, McDane. How are you doing? How are you doing, everyone? Plan B, shout out. Shout out, Anthony. Shout out, South Dogs. Yes, let's go.
Let's go. So, as you just said there, we're also joined by a couple of brothers from over the pond. We have also got S-Dogs MMA. How are we doing, Sterling, my man?
Always good to be back with the boys. I'm trying out this new headset, so if I don't sound good, give me a thumbs down. But good to be here with the boys.
Just to let you know, bro, the headset doesn't affect your audio quality, but you sounded all right.
No, but I connected it to the mic, so I wanted to hear it through there.
Oh, sweet. I don't even need to do that. That's pretty cool. And another brother from over the pond. Jax, how we doing, my man? How's your day been?
Doing good, man. Doing good. First of all, shout out to my wife. It's her birthday today, so I know she's going to be watching later on.
Happy birthday to your wife's day.
Yeah.
It's my daughter's birthday, so
your daughter as well.
Yeah, happy birthday too, man. Birthdays all round. And again, last but not least, the number one EFC middleweight contender. Big smile on his face. I love it. Blampy Shadrack, what's happening, bro? Good to have you on the show again.
No, I'm good with that. I'm good. I can't complain. Right. Like I said earlier, it's just a bit of delay, but yeah, we'll see what will happen. Let's go.
It's pretty late for you guys. I mean, 9 o'clock for us, 10 o'clock for you, but we'll get through this and we'll rock and roll, mate. And also, congratulations, bro, on your fight last month. Wicked finish, mate. First round, couldn't go any better than that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot.
All good, bro. All good. So everybody's watched UFC 306. Blamby, you watched it too, bro? Yeah.
The last event.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really get a chance to watch it, but I did watch a couple of highlights.
Right, okay. That's all you need, bro. That's all you need. There was plenty of highlights coming out on Notchi. So I just wanted to have a quick little recap with you guys. I know, obviously, me and before we get into some of these topics. So me and Sterling sat down the other night and we spoke about some bits and bobs. So first off, I wanted to talk about Aldana. Did you see the clips of Aldana and the cut that she had down her face?
That was...
That was nasty.
Yeah, she looked like Edward Scissorhands got a hold of her. She looked messed up.
Proper messed up. Jax, can you think of anybody else that we've gone through over the last couple of years that's had a cut as bad as that?
Man, we've seen some bad ones. I mean, Myra Bueno Silva's cut was pretty bad, but it wasn't anywhere near like this. Y'all remember Robbie Lawler when he beat Rory McDonald? They cut up his lip. Yeah, I mean he couldn't even close his mouth all the way. He still had, you know what I'm saying? That was bad. This was life altering type of cut. I mean, her eyes still shut right now. So yeah, this one was pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. You saying Nate Diaz there when you blind me?
Yeah, I said Nate
Diaz. That was a big one across.
Yeah.
That brother's got so much scar tissue though, it just rips open straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One other one is what people seem to forget is Uberim. Uberim had that big nasty one on his lip as well.
Yeah, against Jairzinho. I was gonna say also Drew Dober had a bad one recently too that I could think of.
Yeah.
But everyone keeps comparing it to RoboCop's, but I don't know if y'all saw the stitches of Irina yet. It looks like that motherfucking scar is gonna stick
looks
out
like a
for
war
minute.
zone.
Yes,
Looks
it looks like she got hit in the
literally
face with
wasn't
an
raw.
axe.
That's heavy, man. Like it just comes all the way down her eye, right along the
Yeah.
nose, and then towards the lip. It's like
I was rewatching right before we hopped on. I was like, well, let me hop on this just before we get on and get going. And I didn't know it was an elbow right across. I thought it was a headbutt at first. Maybe I was like, maybe they just clashed head pads. But Dumont's elbows are like razor blades.
Yeah. I thought that's what they said on the show. I thought they said it was an accidental clash of heads.
Nasty elbow.
Yeah.
I mean, the clash of heads did bust it. Like, don't get me wrong, it started it, but I think it was the neck because that happened in the second round. Beginning of the third round, Dumont throws an elbow square in the middle of her forehead, bro, and it just wow,
straight open. I mean, you got to give it to her. Blamby, you ever had a cut as bad as that from training or fighting or anything, bro?
Not really as bad as that, but I've picked up. I've picked up one right up in the corner of the eye, and it was mainly kind of looking away during the fight to actually listening to the instructions. So I actually looked away into the corner, and then I got one, and then I got a good cut there. So I think that's pretty much the most there. I've never really had a voice or the bad cut.
Yeah, okay.
That's
was that lesson number one? Don't look away. You know what I mean?
yeah. Lent it right there.
Yeah, that's it, bro. That's it. And obviously on that card we had some incredible fights. Like if you haven't seen the Zellhuber and the Ribovich fight, Blamby, mate, you need to go back and watch that. That was like an instant classic straight off the bat. It just went down. And I'm going to hand this one over to you boys as well. So Jax and Yao, let's hear your thoughts on that fight.
Look, that fight, and I think I said it on Dust Up Shakedown last week. I was going Ribovich because of what I saw him do against Terrence McKinney, and he proved that he was ready for that fight. That fight was insane. Those guys came out swinging. They swung the entire fight. You thought they'd be knocked out, but then they'd get up and then they keep fighting. And then, I mean, that fight was end-to-end action. It was crazy. And shout out to both fighters. But like I said, Ribovich definitely is a fighter to watch out for. After a performance like that, he's going places for sure.
Absolutely. I think that there had to be a conversation in the fighter meeting ahead of time about the refs letting the fights go on just a little bit longer than they would normally, because in that fight, both of them, in other numbered cards, they may have been stopped. In the Ronaldo Rodriguez and Ode Osborne, we know that dude went out. And he came back and won the fight. Like, there had to be an agreement, and we don't get that kind of agreement or that kind of fight if we don't have that type of conversation prior to. And it was so appropriate for UFC Noche to have that type of fight and that type of allowance for them to cook like that. So, I mean, that fight is Hall of Fame worthy, I would think.
A fight of the year contender, 100%. Fight of the year. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, we were talking about Aldana a minute ago, and then you've just mentioned there, like, there were some fights, and it's probably that Mexican warrior spirit that they were leaning into a little bit more, just letting people roll it out. But we talk about Aldana and how she just went through 3 rounds with her face looking like that, just wiping blood out of her eyes and just pushing forward still. There seemed to be a lot of fights, like you say, that got a lot of time that night. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, the whole show, as like me and you spoke about, Sterling, was top notch from top to bottom. And if you could have actually been there in person, it would have been crazy. But the air kind of got sucked out of the room a little bit when it got to that co-main event. So did you manage to catch the co-main, Blamby?
Yeah, I cut all of it right there in the card there. I made sure that card was worthy of staying awake and watching everything. And very interesting fights, I tell you. The co-main with Shevchenko, just doing the most, just proving literally like amongst the females in that division, she's still the one to watch out for.
Yeah.
And I still believe she'll defend it again and again and again if she wants, until she retires. And she's just proven that, no doubt to Grasso, because it's like going one and a draw. That's something big you can take from Shevchenko. But yeah, like, she's definitely the greatest in that division.
Yeah, that's what Ola said as well, because we were doing the live stream for it, and straight away he said, like, she's got to go in the Hall of Fame now. You know what I mean? Two-time champion as well, getting the belt back the way that she did. It was a very dominant performance, but personally, I kind of felt like it sucked the air out of the excitement in the room a little bit because of the game plan. And don't get me wrong, she done what she had to do to get the win. She done what she had to do to get the fight back, to get the belt back. It was a very technical performance in the way that she just managed to smother her, hold her down. But I felt that Grasso was definitely being the more offensive by throwing up a lot more submission attempts, and obviously even trying to throw some strikes too while she was on the ground. Jax, what was your thoughts on that? And Yao, I can see you're itching as well to have a couple of words on this one.
Man, that fight, it wasn't exciting. I mean, I don't think she was coming to excite anybody. She just wanted her belt back. And if it was going to be, Valentina Nurmagomedov, that's what it was going to be. And that's what she did. She suffocated her. She didn't allow her to really get any offense going. And, credit to her. I think that's what we're going to see going forward from Valentina anyway, because one of the things that we talked about was previously was the fact that I personally thought that her striking started to slow down. Her speed is starting to get away. So what did she do? Put more in the grappling side of it. And that's what she leaned on. And she clearly could out-grapple Alexa in those positions. And so, I mean, you got to win. That's what she's going out there to do. And if that's going to extend her career, that's what she's going for. But as far as like her place, I thought she would, even if she lost that fight, she's a Hall of Fame worthy fighter. To me, she's the third best women's fighter of all time. But her greatness has already been standard. Now it's just brownie points at this point.
Yeah.
Look, when you say that Eric got sucked out, for me, and I know that I shouldn't mention this because we're going to go into it, but this and the main event, they both wrestle fuck their way to the titles, for a lack of better wording. They kind of just jumped on their opponent, and it's a miracle that Shevchenko was not finished by Grasso, because Grasso was throwing up some very, very good submissions, as Jack said. And, in maybe a different universe or maybe an alternate timeline, she would have actually cinched in one of those and actually gotten the title back, because we saw how she squeezed the blood out of Shevchenko's head in the first fight when she won. So honestly, it was by pure luck. I wouldn't say pure luck. Let me rephrase myself completely, because yes, Shevchenko is a female GOAT, but she did somewhat get lucky in the fact that Grasso did not manage to finish. And like you said, Midday, she was the one who was more offensive on the ground in terms of throwing up submissions. But nonetheless, can't take that away from her. It was a dominant performance. It was a performance that said, I am the champion, whether it's standing and banging, whether I'm slower, whether I'm faster, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get my title back, and I'm going to show you that I am the champion. So big ups to her. I have no problems with those types of performances. That's a fighter who understands their level, understands what they need to do to win a fight. So whether it was boring or not, okay. But, I still think that there was an outside chance that Grasso could have put in one of those submissions, but she didn't, and Shevchenko is the champion very deservedly.
Agreed, 100% agreed. And Sterling, obviously, we never got to this one, mate, when we jumped on your channel and recorded it. So let me get your thoughts real quick on this fight as well.
Basically, the boys already kind of said most of it, but you can't blame her for doing the strategy she did. Because the first two times she stood up and basically tried to make it an MMA fight with her. The first time Alexa got her, I think maybe she surprised her, honestly. And then when she threw that spinning back kick and Alexa put that rear naked choke in, there's nothing you can do. That would have got most men. The second fight, she tried to make it interesting, bro. And then, like she said, maybe it was swayed a little bit in Alexa's favor. So she got that close decision. So if it had been the same type of fight, Alexa Grasso is still our champion. So you can't blame her for it. It did take a lot of the air out the room, though. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially after seeing Diego versus Brian Then we get the war before that. Everyone's hype, vibes are high. Here comes the co-main. The movies are getting insane, and then we basically just watched a jiu-jitsu fight. Yeah, so it wasn't really that nothing much you could say there, boys. Respect to her. I don't blame her for what she did. You got to get that back at the end of the day. But yeah, boys, shout out Valentina.
Although, quick one, maybe it's not. Maybe it wasn't her game plan. Maybe Grasso was just that effective on the feet, and she said, "Listen, I'm not gonna beat her on the feet."
Yeah,
could be it.
Because her boxing is crisp, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But a jiu-jitsu slick too. Like I was saying, she's throwing more submission threats than anything from her back. Yeah, I mean, like one moment she had her in a reverse triangle and also going for a Kimura. Like at the same time, I was like, "Come on!" You know what I mean, and then she, like you say, she also had her in the gilly. Then she rolled over and had the mount in the gilly for a minute too. I was just like, "What is going on here? Like, how is she not tapping?"
All credit to her jiu-jitsu coach / number 3 featherweight in the world, Diego Lopes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Did you guys see the clip of him? Like, so he literally ran out of his fight, jumped into the medicals, got all sorted, and then washed the face with the water and that, got changed into his trackie, and then ran back out and jumped into a corner. Like, mate, that was incredible. That's what he's a one hell of a guy. Like, and obviously, Yao, you mentioned a second ago. Obviously, we were going to get into this, but that main event too. So is that how most people expected it to go? I expected the machine to put on the pace and keep wrestling and keep putting the pressure on him. That was how I expected Merab to perform. Sean O'Malley was miles behind what I thought he was going to come out and do.
Yeah,
let's go around the room.
Sean wasn't ready for the fight. He was ready to fight, but not for that fight. And if you remember when I said that all the stuff Merab was showing with the stitches and all that stuff, it made O'Malley think, okay, let me be the sniper. Let me work on getting that eye rather than making sure I can stop this guy from taking me down and holding me down. And I think the distraction worked exactly. It gave him the target, but the target, unfortunately, you can't hit a target if you're trying to stand up. And that's exactly what happened in that fight. Merab took him to the ground. Merab, I wouldn't say ragdolled him, but he was dominant the entire fight. He barely stepped outside of dominance. We saw him kissing Sean O'Malley on the back in the 4th round and getting hit after the bell. I mean, all the things that he did showing that he was not only composed, but also in control of the entire fight. I mean, sure, he wrestle-fucked himself to the title, but it was an entertaining version of it where everything he was doing was tactical. It was literally to slow down his opponent, tire his opponent, because especially at that weight class, you don't necessarily get get knockouts very easily. Yes, Sean O'Malley has a ton of knockouts, but it's not very common that you get knockouts. So that's the best way to win a fight, and he did what he needed to do. And honestly, I was impressed by the performance, to be honest. But like you said, O'Malley, he didn't show up.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I would say, I mean, if Merab was going to win, if you closed your eyes before this fight happened and somebody told you, okay, Merab is going to win, how does he win? That was it.
Yeah.
We just saw it. It's not really, it's not a surprise. I knew he was going to do goofy stuff there, which check, he did that. I knew he was going to this cardio, check. And I knew he was going to wrestle and attempt at least 16 times to take him down. Check. And if you do that and Sean doesn't have enough offense going, and if he is truly hurt, I don't know. Who knows? They may be, giving him a kind of a trap door on that. But, I mean, that's what Merab does. That's what he's done to so many people. And that's what he's going to continue to do as long as people allow him to do it. So I'm not surprised at all. I mean, when you put him as the main event, don't be surprised if that's what happens.
Question: does that mean that he got lucky against Aljo? Because Aljo and Merab, same.
Yeah. Well, that's when you now look at Umar and he's kind of gone, I don't want to fight that brother. You know what I mean? So that could speak into it.
Could be. I mean, I don't think he got lucky. I think that was planned, and he actually tried to do that very same pull counter that he got Aljo with, and he connected on some shots, but it just wasn't enough to hurt Merab. But if you saw Merab afterwards, he was bleeding from kind of the same area that Aljo got connected on. So it's not like it didn't work completely, but it didn't work enough. That's clear.
Yeah.
And also, I bet Merab's chin's better than Aljo's chin. You know what I'm saying? If I had to bet whose chin's better, I bet Merab's chin's better than Aljo's, bro.
I'd say Aljo's probably cutting more weight. He's a bigger build.
Yeah.
So he's a bigger boy, and he's also moved
Merab's
up a weight class too. So yeah, and he's just a small, compact dude, like the machine, as he's called. You know what I mean? So, Yao, you also mentioned a second ago about punching him after the bell. There was still 4 seconds on that. See, when he stood up and he walked away, I looked at the timer straight away, and I was like, why is he just walking away and turning his back? Then Sean jumped up and cracked him. I was like, what is going on?
Hey, Sean popped up fast too, bro. I don't know if I could get up in 3 seconds and still hit a dude that's walking away that quick.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you think, man? Did you do that in 3 seconds?
On the back, yeah, I bet you pop up.
That's a man who's frustrated as well. Like, you just kiss my back. I mean,
you think he felt the kisses though?
He must have.
He felt the kisses.
He felt them kisses.
He heard his sounds.
Yeah.
Because he
Those
knew his sounds.
little delicate kisses that he got on his back. No,
That's crazy to say in a UFC fight.
I know, yeah. If you were in the cage and somebody starts kissing your back, like, what are you doing to that man in the next 20, 30 seconds?
Hey, real quick, baby, another question I want to ask you. I was going to ask you this when we were talking about Arena Aldana. I know this is completely off. I'm so sorry, boys. I just thought about this. Mac Dane, tell me to shut up if I need to. But,
rock and roll, baby.
Have you ever got stitches in your face?
No. On my leg, yes. Not on my face.
I haven't. I say because I only have 4 amateur fights, so I've never had a cut that bad where I've needed stitches. Nothing even that serious ever. So I wonder what it first of all like it feels like. Because you see the doctors have to numb it, they stick the needle in there. But I wonder what your face and like what everything feels like the next week. And I just was wondering maybe if you've had something like that.
No.
Honestly, that cut is that cut is tantamount to going into surgery, to be honest with you. So we're looking at least 6 weeks of pain, probably.
I think that video where the guy was like peeling it back and stuff. I think she's under sedation. I think she was out. I don't even think she was awake. That weren't right. I wanted to put this clip up, but I didn't know what YouTube would do if they would just shut it down and just like, nah, we ain't showing that.
Honestly, I'm surprised how clean Sean got away with it. Like his face, there's no cuts, no bloody nose, no busted lip. I'm surprised, honestly.
Well, one thing that I did notice, and I mentioned this to you as well, Sterling, is like every time that Sean threw, Merab would like jump the length of himself away. Like he didn't want that smoke. He didn't want to get connected with you. I mean, he was literally jumping 2 or 3 feet away from Sean's shots and just staying out of that range. But there was a couple of times where you think that he had, I mean, even though Merab's got the shorter arms, he was connecting when Sean was still reaching to go for a punch too, but Merab was just dipping his head further enough back so he wasn't getting hit. Like there was some smooth stuff in there. So was that how that fight was going to play out in your mind as well, Blamby?
Yeah, like look, when he fought Cejudo, that's when I was like, hi, dude. Yeah. It's you just can't stop this guy when he'll take what he wants. He's like a Jack Russell.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
That is perfect.
That is perfect.
Jack Russell.
But he just wants, and he just wants it all because he knows you have to compete with his gas tank. He knows like he's got the best gas tank in the division, so you gotta have to compete with him. And when he senses that you're tired, he'll submit you or he will knock you out. So that's what he does best. And for me, I knew he was just gonna run through Sean O'Malley. But like Yao said, like, Sean didn't show up in that fight. He wasn't expecting Merab to bring what he brought in there. He was kind of expecting a little bit more of Sterling. So I think he was a bit composed in that state because he thought maybe Merab would kind of have the same kind of style of movement. So he was a bit more chilled. But the movement of Merab kind of, I would say he probably thought, in the third round, Merab would slow down. Because Merab was just moving the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But he miscalculated everything. I would say the calculation was just they just miscalculated everything because the men's tank is Jesus damn.
I know. I spoke to Matt Frivola months ago on the podcast, and he said like Merab's that dude in the gym that like everybody's rolling 5.5s or whatever. Merab's going 7.7s. He ain't stopping. You know what I mean? Like he just keeps going and he keeps when everyone else is sitting at the side taking a breather, Merab's still bouncing up and down on his toes, waiting for the next person to jump in and roll with him. Like he just doesn't stop. And they have like a Saturday that they were saying in the gym. It's just like a hell week combined into one day. And they all just literally go there and just roll and spar and roll, and they just go for hours and just don't stop. Like absolutely insane. But I think that's a perfect segue from what you were saying there about Sean looking a bit out of sorts. Didn't seem like he turned up for the fight, and he was a bit flat for the little slide that I've made. So as I said in the chat, you boys might have seen it. Bambi, you wouldn't have seen it. Leroy's been made redundant. I've had to do this entire production myself this week. The man's busy, so I've had to step in and do a couple of little bits. But just before I do that, I realized we have been talking now for 26 minutes and we've not even ran through the chat yet. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's tuning in so far. We've got 54 people that are jumping up and dropping in the comments when I say what's happening. Crystal Miller, Paradox, the Chad, what's happening, brother? Torrin Brown, how you doing? Obviously, the Fight Week show always tuned in and he's watching too. And then I was just scrolling down and we got Rick Allen, where he's saying, bro, Mike Chandler's wife put him back to work and that's what happened, even though she, what? Let's have a look at this. What's he saying? Even though she is a doctor, the single income family isn't practical in the year of 2024. He's coming in. Hey, Moicano just said that on the Money Pod as well. He was saying that there needs to be two people at work these days. You can't be having one parent at home anymore. It just doesn't work. Hector Rico, what's happening, bro? And who else have we got? Anyone else jumping in? These boys are going off in the chat here. Mate, Anakin MMA. I'm sorry, guys. I've been completely missing this. And then we got Raj Paul. What's happening, bro? And Ignacio and Ribovic are underrated, mate. That was one hell of a fight. And big up to yourself, brother. Thanks for jumping in. So anyway, as we were saying, let's jump into this slide here. We've got a couple more things to talk about from this main event. Post UFC 306 in his loss to Merab Dvalishvili, Sean O'Malley spoke out about his performance and the fight on his YouTube channel, making absolutely no excuses.
Great fight week. Best weight cut. Felt good. No excuses. People, my mom too, she's like, what? Why? You just weren't the same. Like, what was wrong? I'm like, nothing. I just got beat. There was nothing. Everyone keeps asking me that, like, well, something seemed off, something seemed different, flat foot. It's like there was nothing, zero excuses, nothing. Had a good fight camp, had a good weight cut.
Definitely were a little lighter than you usually were.
Weight wise, I was a little bit lighter. I felt like I got out strength. Like I knew what to do in certain positions. I just felt like he was just stronger. I just felt out strength. I didn't feel like too out skilled, out speed. I felt cardio was good.
Yeah, and two of the judges had you.
After this, he went on to talk about having a break from fighting, saying that he probably won't fight for maybe a year and how it is going to feel good to take a legit break to heal up.
I mean, I probably won't fight. I probably won't fight for 9 months, 10 months, maybe a year. Like it's gonna be a while. People are gonna have to watch the UFC without the Sugar Show for a little bit, but then maybe they'll realize, fuck, we had it. It was fun. It's gonna feel good to take a legit break to get fully healthy, full on break without something like, oh, this is next. I don't have anything, nothing scheduled. I don't want to even. It's like no one's next. I gotta get healthy, and that's it. Take my time and come back
He then waited to disclose to Aiden Ross that he needed labrum surgery and how long he would need to recover.
The game needs you, bro. Like, come on, bro. I need you.
I have to get surgery. I have surgery on October 3rd.
Really?
I tore my labrum
What
like
the?
10 weeks ago.
What?
It's a little, you have a labrum in both your shoulders and your hips.
Yeah.
I tore the left labrum in my hip, so I got surgery. That's the only reason I'm gonna be out for so long. The surgery should only take like 2 months to come back from. Then it'll take, a couple months recovery. So a year's long. A year's a long time. Could be 6 to 8 months. But I'm just kind of going with the flow. You never know.
Boom. So, as he was saying there, he's got no excuses going into that one. He just didn't turn up. I like how he done the impression of his mum as well. What was going on? What was happening? Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But he came out, LOLO, Breezy, what's happening, brother? Cheers for joining. So obviously he came out, said no excuses, and then he also made a little post that the Sugar Sean Athletic Commission overturns it because he won 2 out of 5 rounds or something. Don't know what that was all about, but he was pretty humble in that moment there, and he was quite straightforward about, yeah, I've got no excuses, but then to later come out with the labrum injury. So what's everyone's thoughts on what he's been saying there? Like, what's your thoughts on the no excuses, Jack? So let's come to you.
I mean, I like what he said on his podcast. I say that. I get a lot of, or I gain a lot of respect from fighters when I see them in a not so positive situation. Like when Conor lost to Nate, like the way that he acted afterwards, that's what made me respect Conor. In this situation, the way that he acted on his podcast, he gave no excuses. As far as like the surgery or the injury, I mean, that doesn't sound like an excuse. It sounds like a fact. If he's getting surgery, then that's just what it is. He didn't say, I'm getting surgery and that is what caused me to lose. He just said, I'm getting surgery. And so it's going to cause me to be out. That's all he said. So a lot of people may be spinning that into an excuse, but he never said it was an excuse. He just said that that's what's happening. So I give him a lot of credit for saying that he just got beat. And so it is what it is in a lot of, not even a lot. Everybody gets beat. Whether your record has a 0 at the end of it, you got beat in the training room. That's how you got better. So it's just a fact of life. And I will assume that he's going to do the best for himself, for whatever nagging injuries that he has, to get better and go back and chase whatever it is that he's trying to chase.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's a fact that he needs to go and get this surgery. He never made it or used it as a reason why he never performed on the night. He literally just said, had a great camp. You know what I mean? Weight cut was great. Nothing was going wrong. I think, I'm not sure I've had it in that clip there, but he also mentioned that he just got outstrengthed. Like he just said he was stronger than what he probably thought he was going to be. Especially in the grappling exchanges, he just got outstrengthed and that was it. But I mean, you ever had that experience where like you've gone up against the guy and he's just gripped you and you've been like, shit, this is different?
Well, yes, I would. Yeah, I have before. Yeah, went up a guy where grabbed me, took me down, and held me, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta relax here now because if I don't, yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. So yeah, I've been there before, and I guess just calming down, relaxing is the best thing to do in that moment because
And over a course of 5 rounds in a title fight, it probably start damaging your confidence a little bit going through that and thinking, I can't get this dude off me.
Pretty much, especially in a situation where you got me up and he's not just going to shoot once. He's going to keep on coming and coming and coming. So you might stop the first one, the second, the third. But yeah, what about the other 20? What's going to happen? And out of the 20, if he can get 6 of them, what can he do with it? Out of the 6 now, you look at the ground control time of it. What damage did he do with it? So it's an impressive game. They think of playing as well. So it's very smart.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Sterling, what you got to say about any of the podcast clips?
First of all, good clips. Second of all, I have definitely felt that same exact moment in the training room where like you trained with somebody, or maybe you think like I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm tossing everyone around, and then you're the one getting tossed around. So it does suck. So I couldn't imagine. At best, especially being Sugar, bro, how much shit you talk to Marab, Aljo, that whole camp, everything you've been saying. This is going to be an easy fight. You're going to make short work of this dude. You're the next Conor McGregor. This is your show. And then he comes out, man, and literally just honestly could have won every round. I mean, if you ask me, I think he won 4 out of the 5 rounds. So, but he is being a man about it. I watched that whole podcast. He's taking it on the chin, man, the best you possibly can. There's really no excuses. He's actually gave Marab a lot of props, which is pretty dope to see. And then Marab and Aljo on DP show, they're doing the same thing. They're giving Sugar props, no excuses. They're talking a lot of shit, but I mean, I would do the same thing. But Sugar's taking it like a man, bro. Nothing but respect. But yeah, man, he's just gotta get that surgery. That does suck that he tore his labrum in that fight. Maybe it wasn't in the fight. Maybe it was a pre-existing injury, and then Marab throwing you around like that caused it. Respect, man.
No, that's it, man. So obviously, he's there talking about now he needs some time off for the recovery. Yeah, obviously he's saying at the end of that quote, it's like 2 months, maybe 2 months for recovery, and then some time after it just to get back into the swing of things. Do you think a year's a bit too long? Is it like the prime of his career right now? Is there going to be a bit too much movement within the division? And do you think he should be trying to come back sooner?
$3.2 million. $3.2 million. That's how much he got for this fight. If I was him, I'd take a year off and enjoy that money too. So, I
mean, screw it. I'm taking 2 years.
Yeah, and he's 29.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, if I think, yeah, Bambi, go for it.
Yeah, if I could say something like you said, I think Sean, he's still kind of climbing, so he's hitting his prime. He hasn't like, he's not in his prime yet, so it's kind of getting to his prime in this level, and I think he knows it and he feels it. So that's why it's like, I'm gonna give myself time off to enjoy myself and just make sure that, because the brain is very important, that the brain gets to recover as well. And for an athlete to say what he needs, he knows what his brain needs. So like he can push his body as much as he can, but the brain tells him, like, this is very important. And if you make sure that you give it what it needs, the peace, you coming back, especially the fact that, like, he's still 29. He's still got 6, 7, 8 years in his career. So you don't know. This man probably might be doing a wrestling, might be joining a wrestling class there in a secret that we don't know. And he come back, man shoots on him, he sprawls. We pull guards, crazy stuff happens. I was not be surprised. So.
He was already practicing his sprawls right after the fight in the backstage room as well. Have you seen that clip?
So yeah.
Plus, how, do y'all think Marab's gonna be the champ in the next 9 months? I mean, he might not even fight Marab in the next 9 months, bro, for the title.
Ooh, yeah. Look, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. That I like the fight between him and Umar. That's a really good fight. Yeah, but look, there is what's his name? Figueiredo,
yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
He's undefeated in that division, and he's got good hands. He can wrestle a little bit. He's got really good jiu-jitsu, so he's not to be counted out in that division. So I feel like in that division, they're just going to change champions. They're just going to move through the belts.
I don't know,
you have
man.
more to say? Oh, go on.
Figgy seems so small. he still feels small to me.
He's so small. I think Marab destroys him easily.
Yeah.
Figgy's a great fighter, but I think that size difference, the power. I mean, if Sugar Sean is saying that Merab felt stronger than him, how's Figgy gonna feel? So I agree with the skills of Figgy, but I just don't see him challenging Merab for the title at all. Like
it's a different kind of strength that they've got, though, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, like Sean's got the same as Conor McGregor's, the explosive one bang. You know what I mean? Like he's got the fast, crisp strength, where Merab's got that short, stocky core strength. Where if he gets a hold of you, he's not gonna. It's a completely different style of strength. But I get what you're saying.
Like, I mean, for me, he earned my respect when he dropped him. When he dropped Chito, because Chito's bigger than him. And for you to drop a guy bigger than you got to pack a really good power. And if you look at in weight wise, but without them cutting weight alone, Chito will definitely be bigger than Figueiredo. And in science, boxing wise, Chito will definitely drop Figueiredo if he hits him. And for now, that to happen the other way around, where O'Malley couldn't even do it with a knee. That was a very good knee, and he couldn't do that. And this man comes here, he lands a really good right and drops this guy on his knees. That's also like something that gave a bit of a warning to me. That's something you gotta look at. At the end of the day as well.
So did you have any more on the time off to say about Yao before we went off in the tangent there?
No, not really. Look, I think I pretty much covered the fact that $3.2 million. By the way, Merab $4 million.
Hey, I swear, give me $3 million. I might not ever fight again.
Yeah, give me $3 million. I'll be dead. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What's this? Breaking Tommy Fury just called out Jake Paul for an MMA fight. Okay. What did the panel make of this? Yeah, not interested.
Nothing.
Did you also see Tyson Fury throwing kicks? You seen him kicking the bag recently, bro? You seen that guy's build? He's like, what's his name? Gru off Despicable Me. He's all top heavy and skinny legs, bro. Like he's unbelievable. How that dude packs the power that he does is unbelievable.
Hey, but do y'all think Sugar's gonna fight Corey next?
That would be interesting, but is Corey willing to wait a year? Who's he going to step in for against you? I mean, by before
I think so. I mean, because he got did up by Umar. So, I mean, does he really want to fight a guy like Cheeto again or Biggie or something like that? Or just wait for Sean for a year? Yeah.
Sanhagen's game as anybody, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he is a gangster. Sanhagen is a gangster.
But there's some matchups to be made there for sure.
I don't think that Corey would want to wait that long. Yeah, he's a little bit older than them or than Sean, so he doesn't have that kind of time to be wasting. And he's also, coming off of a situation where he could have put himself right in the title mix, and he came up short. So I think that he really wants to get something back. And I think that the reason that he went on social media calling out Sean is because obviously his wrestling has stepped up quite a bit. So he saw that hole and he was like, well, let me exploit it before he gets better. So,
yeah, that's a good point. Corey does have great wrestling, and he's a martial artist.
Yeah.
So, Jake Paul, Tommy Fury. Any comments on that one for Ola? He's going to be sitting waiting on it.
Man,
none.
Dude, I want to see Jake Paul fight somebody that is a professional boxer that has a similar record that's fought some decent people. Like, I don't want to see him fighting old men on a Sunday afternoon. I don't want to see none of that. I want to see him fight somebody that's legit. Let's see if you are who you really say you are. Don't fight people who don't have that kind of experience and try to capitalize on things. I understand the marketing. I understand the business. I get it. I respect his skills, and I respect it so much that I want to see him fight a legit boxer. So
Paulo Costa. Jake Paul, Paulo Costa. Book it.
Book it. That'd be insane. I mean, he did just get called out. He did just get called out by Ryan Garcia, didn't he? Garcia said he wants to stop this Jake Paul hype train nonsense and just like actually get in there and fight him too. So that I'd probably watch that fight just to watch him get his ass beat. But at the same time, it's probably too big for Ryan Garcia too, even though that boy's fast as shit. You know what I mean?
I loved what Canelo said about him. It's like, hey, once he started to fight real boxers, then you guys can talk to me about him. It's like, okay, nice.
So there's we lost Plan B, but there's your answer, Ola. Nobody gives a shit.
Oh wait, no. I do, because it was Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury in MMA, not in boxing, in MMA. So I would love to see Jake Paul in his first MMA outing against someone who, sure, also isn't experienced in MMA, and then let's see where that goes. So Ola, I'm with you, bro. Ha!
But he's not even on. He's not even on the show, and you still got to be brown nosing, don't you? You know what I mean? Like he's making sure his spot's still. He's making sure his spot's still here next week. Meanwhile, I took over hosting, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Get out of my face.
Invite
bro.
for
Get out of my face. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So another matchup that could be an interesting one, and perfect segue for this. And I've got another little clip on this. So I've seen people before in the chat were talking about Diego Lopes and Brian Ortega and how that fight went down. Unbelievable. Obviously, Sterling, we spoke about it. That 1-2 straight away down the pipe at the beginning of the fight. How Brian Ortega walked through that and carried on. How he never got dropped and fell on his ass and was out cold. Personally, I think Diego Lopes woke his ass up with that second shot when that right hook came in. I think he woke him up. But man, like let's jump into this clip and look at a potential matchup that we can have in the featherweight division. After watching UFC 306, Volkanovski gave his instant reactions posting a video to his YouTube channel, and a standout mention was to Diego Lopes, where he stated that he would be willing to fight him for an interim title if there couldn't be a quick turnaround for the winner of the Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway fight set to take place on UFC 308 on the 26th of October in Abu Dhabi.
I think Lopes, massive win, both top dudes, I like them both, so whoever was going to win I was going to be happy for. So Lopes right up there now. I'm guessing he'll be ranked number 3. Obviously, my next fight's for the title. Depending what happens, is there injuries in the Max and Ilia fight? You know, who knows what's going to happen? Could there be an interim with someone like Lopes? You never know. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, I want to fight sooner. Obviously, my next fight is a title. But if they can't do that soon enough and, you know, say if Max wins, is he going to go lightweight, do the BMF? Is there going to be an interim fight? I don't know, haven't had them proper discussions, so I'll get back to the UFC and have a proper chat to them. All I know is that my next fight's for the title, so let's find out exactly what's happening there.
This would be a fantastic matchup if it took place, but Volkanovski seems pretty certain that he's next in line. And with that being said, in the post-fight presser, Dana White was questioned about Lopes wanting to go to Abu Dhabi as the backup fighter, and he had this to say.
Every Diego Lopes fight, he goes and talks to you. What did he ask this time?
Usually he's really nice. Tonight he wasn't nice at all. He was screaming at me, "Give me my title shot! I get the title shot now!" Yeah, he was very angry tonight. It wasn't the usual happy-go-lucky, smiling Diego Lopes. He was fucking screaming at me.
Seems like you want to go to Abu Dhabi as a backup fighter. Is that a possibility, or?
We'd do anything with that guy. Even though he was screaming at me tonight, I really like him. So, yeah, he could be.
Boom. Now that would be a fight and a half. I'm interested in that one. If they want to make it for an interim, I'm down for it. What's everybody else's thoughts? Yeah.
So, obviously, I think Volkanovski understands who he is and his legacy. And he's looking for an exciting fight. He knows that he's over the 35 age group where, you know, it's difficult to win a title. We've seen the record of over 35 champions, and he was one of the statistics. So I think he's looking to capitalize and give Diego Lopes a chance at rising, or solidify and say, listen, I know what you guys saw, but remember, at that point in time, if you look at my fights against Makhachev, the second one I was drinking every day, the first one I almost won, and if you look at how I lost to Topuria, okay, I had a bad day in the office, but I'm actually still one of the best fighters ever. So I think this is him saying, okay, so you think this number 3 upstart who is a prospect, an amazing fighter is coming up. If I can't fight Ilia, let me take him out and then go and get my title back. So I think he's in the right mind frame of, you know, the type of champion. He's not sulking about the fact that he lost his belt. He's looking at it realistically in terms of the table and his path back to the title. And where it comes to Lopez, yeah, I'd see that fight. I think Volkanovski takes it. I think Lopez is a dog, but the experience might just edge. And I know we said that about Ortega and how his grappling skills would come out and just edge, but it didn't. So will that really happen in Volkanovski versus Lopez? I don't know, but I would, in that one, I would go with Volkanovski just by a slim margin due to the experience. But I like that fight.
I like that fight. Really interested in it. Sterling, what's your thoughts on that matchup, bro?
I was about to say, it might have looked like I was on my phone over here now listening to you, brother, but you had me thinking about something. Listen to this, all right? So Diego Lopez's last 5 opponents. Y'all tell me if he deserves a title fight after this. Ready? Gavin Tucker, Pat Sabatini, Yusuf, Dan Ige, Brian Ortega. I think he deserves
it on the last 3.
On the last 3, he deserves it?
Yeah.
No.
You joking? Yusuf Islam? Yusuf Islam, what am I about? Big up Cat Stevens in the house.
So Yusuf respect. Yusuf
what am I about? Sadiq Yusuf. Jesus Christ, where the hell did that come from? You know what I mean? The first cut is the deepest. No. Shit. Bro, mate, he's got some banging tunes, I'll give him that. So yeah, we got Sadiq Yusuf, and then
I'm with you. So Yusuf,
Dan Ige, and then Brian Ortega.
2 hours notice, on 2 hours notice, Ige, and then Ortega's 74 years old. So I don't think he doesn't get that, bro. I get Ortega's a lion and all. I get all that shit. It's cool. It's whatever. I've seen all the pictures, but he's 97 years old. He just went old. He just got older. So he's almost 100 years old.
This
so
is
I
like
don't.
Naz's wives.
I didn't think that. So listen, he has to fight Volkanovski for the title. If you look at Volkanovski's first fights in the UFC, Chad Mendes, fucking dogs. Dudes are murderers. He has to fight at least one more guy. If not Volkanovski, maybe Josh Emmett, somebody like that. I don't know. But he has to fight one more time, and it might as well be Volkanovski.
But he's number 3.
He's number 3. Okay, I get that. But also,
since when does the rankings matter, brother?
Thank you, McDade. Thank you.
If I was him,
Kilo Rountree number 7.
Like, if
Come on,
I
Blabby,
was
what
him,
you saying, bro?
To be honest, if I was Diego Lopez and I saw that video of Volkanovski calling him, I will take that. I'll tell Dana, make that interim title shot now. I will take it. The name is big. It's the belt on the line. I'll take it. That's like, I'll take it.
That's part already.
You have nothing. Yeah. See, I hope he does take it. I really hope he takes it.
Jax.
And so I look at it from 2 ways. So as if I were Diego Lopez, I'm knocking Volkanovski out. You saw what I just did to Ortega. I'm not who just got knocked out twice. I'm knocking him out too. I mean, that's honestly, it might be easy work for him, to be honest.
And then undisputed.
Yeah.
You deserve it no matter what after that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, as me, I am against these interim titles just being thrown out. I mean, like, Topuria fought in February.
That's true.
He ain't hurt. We got a fight book. Why do we have an interim title? That would make no sense. So
no, for me, to answer the question before you can move on, for me, in this state, it will make sense. Why? Because they just want to unify between the two of them who will fight next for the title. That would kind of make sense for me because Volk says is next. Now he's number 3. He believes is next. So why don't you put the two of them together and then the winner get to fight?
I'm for the fight.
Yeah,
you can make the fight, but it ain't got to be for no belt. If I'm Lopez, I don't mind fighting him. That's a big, like you said, it's a big name. It's another, check mark, on your CV, and that guarantees that you're going to fight whomever wins, Max or Ilya. No problem from Lopez's part. For Volk, he's going to say, well, let me think. let me think of all the things that I did for y'all. I was fat and chubby, and I came and fought Islam and got kicked out. Then I backdoored that by defending my title when I wasn't really quite ready. You're not gonna give me a title fight, and especially if Max wins, you're not gonna give me a title fight against a dude that I beat 3 times. So Volkanovski is one that's going to be able to throw a wrench in this whole thing, depending on who wins.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with what you're saying there of all the things that he's done for them. But one, he was sitting drinking every day, and he took that fight anyway. If he was that level of the fighter, and you're the title, you know what I mean, you're the champion, and you're moving up a weight class, and you're going up a guy that's already beat you, that you had a very, very close first fight with. Was it the smartest decision to go for that fight? And then to go up against Ilia Topuria, 12 weeks after? You'd think, yeah, sound 12-week camp is good. But coming off a knockout that he came off with that head kick, again, that was a bad decision by him. And is it the UFC brass pushing it? Or was that just bad decision after bad decision? 100% understand where you're coming from, but I don't think you can solely say, look what I did for you, where that was also his choice. You know what I mean? He was sitting with the mental game, tripping a little bit.
That's true. That's true. All those are good points. I think that he's still going to try to hold that over their head and use the little bit of leverage that he has, because no fighter really has leverage in the UFC. The little bit of leverage that he has to try to play that game, whether he wins or not.
Breezy jumped in saying that Dan Ige is a solid fighter. Sadiq also is, and Ortega has been at the top for a while. And to say that a current lineup that he has doesn't deserve it is wild. And that he'd like to see him fight Arnold Allen. That would be a banger of a fight too. Yeah.
So this is my question
Allen's...
to you, McDane. How do you feel about him having leapfrogged the Almighty, the shirt that you're wearing right now? How do you feel about Lopes
repping the Almighty, son? I mean, I wouldn't say leapfrog. Do you know what I mean? Like Arnold Allen fought Sadiq as well and won, and then obviously I would have loved to see Arnold go up against Ortega too. Arnold went up against Max Holloway. Unfortunately, didn't get it done, but made it one hell of a competitive fight. Like, made it through all the 5 rounds. Made it look pretty damn good compared to how Max handles some other people as well, to be honest with you. Then you now look at him going. He got Giga, which is a fair matchup for obviously coming off. And then he also had Evelev too, which with those knees, he could have won if those knees didn't get stopped. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's probably based completely. But at the same time, like, I don't see it as a leapfrog. I think they've both been on the path in the way that they're going. They're both working back toward. Well, one's working towards his first title shot, and the other one's working back towards getting into that top contender spot too. So, like, it all comes down to who would Arnold go up against next. I wouldn't have minded to see Arnold go in against Volk. Because if he could beat Volk, then again, no question about it, he's going to be next. I think he only needs one more fight too. Featherweight's in a good spot right now for some contender matchups that can be made.
Yeah, there's some good fights.
There's some good fight. Anybody else's thoughts on that matchup there as well? The Arnold Allen.
That kid scares me when I look at him in that division. I'm like, yeah, he can throw hands.
Yeah,
and I agree with what you say. Like, that division is it's a quite basic division, and I would like to say that as well, like Volk against Ellen. Yeah, it's something very interesting as well. Why? Because obviously they will both present a bit of the same style in a way, and they want to stay in the middle, and both of them want to kind of just throw nice, good heads. And height-wise, they know he's not too tall, so it's gonna be who's gonna shoot first.
Yeah,
that's a fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So moving on now, I think that's we've almost covered an hour of UFC 306. There's an epic little chat about it all, but thanks for sticking with me on that one. Moving on to a different promotion now, though, we have got the Battle of the Giants with Francis Ngannou and Renan. I forget his last name. Ferreira. Is that how you pronounce it?
Renan Ferreira.
mate. That's going to be a banger. But there's another fight on there that's just been announced. A middleweight, a Bellator matchup on a PFL card. It's the wildest thing you've ever seen in your life. But again, it's a rematch that I'm pretty interested in, to be honest. You got Johnny Eblen versus Fabian Edwards, two middleweights previously scheduled, obviously, to fight in the main event of Bellator Champ Series in London last week. They've been rebooked now for the PFL Battle of the Giants event, which is headlining, as I said, by Francis Ngannou and Renan Ferreira. And that's in Saudi Arabia in October, I believe. Eblen was successful in the last matchup. You know what I mean? He walked out and knocked him out in the third round. And then since that fight, Eblen's gone on to beat Impa Kasagny. And then we've also seen Edwards get back into the winning column with a unanimous decision over Aaron Jeffrey. And that was a title eliminator in the Bellator Champ Series. Like, what are we thinking about this matchup for the rematch? You think it's still going to go the same way as what it did before? And what are we thinking about this PFL Bellator mashup that they keep? Like, should they just be stripping down the divisions and getting the fighters that they want and keeping them all into one promotion now, rather than doing this mix and match thing? Let's talk about that. Jax, you seem to be shaking your head a little bit there. You got some thoughts on this one?
Man, PFL and Bellator are dumb. Straight up. That's what it is. They're dumb. They can't decide on what they want to be called. They're using both champions, even though they had the whole Clash of Champions thing where it should have been settled. We're still doing this. I don't know what they're doing. And shout out to my boy Frankie in the chat, and he's the one that kind of came up with this, but he called it PFL-ator. That's really if that's what they want to do. Y'all gonna keep on throwing these Bellator titles on PFL shows and vice versa. Just come up with something and stick with it. I don't know why you don't do that. But the fight itself, I am interested in the fight itself. I actually rewatched the first fight, and Fabian had some moments in that fight before the end of it, and I think that coming back, I think that he's learned some things. His team has learned some things, and what I saw was him when they exchanged, he backed up straight every time. He just backed up straight, and all Eblen did was just continue his blitz, and that ended the fight. Just continuing the blitz that he had, and I think that his team is smart enough to know, let's not do that same thing. So I think it'll be an interesting fight. I'm looking forward to that. But as far as the organization as a whole, it's just a matter of time, y'all. It's just a matter of time before they disintegrate.
Well, they've got PFL Europe, obviously PFL. They've got now PFL Africa too. You know what I mean? The branching out, and they're trying to do some things, but do you feel like they're trying to spread themselves out too much?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. I mean, I feel like their organization, even though they've kind of, merged, or one was bought out by the other PFL buying out Bellator, they haven't come to grips that they are all one organization. When the UFC took over the WEC or took over Pride, their roster or whatnot, they didn't say, okay, well, here's our Pride champion, here's our WEC champions. They made a big deal at the beginning, and then it was done. And we never went back to that well again. We are the UFC, and that's who we are. They need to do a similar thing, but they're not. And I don't understand why. It's very confusing. Even if you go to their website, like, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Like, they have to make it make sense for us, especially with them being, the second or really the third organization as far as the tier is concerned. Like, they got to get their stuff together, and it ain't going well.
Anybody else? Sterling, Yao, Blamby, you got any thoughts on it all?
Bro, I'm right there with you, bro. Exact same thing. Yeah. I honestly can't believe they're still around as much longer as they are, just because all the stars they have are former UFC fighters. They have very few homegrown stars. They just got to get it together, man. Just get with one promotion, stay with that promotion, get rid of this tournament bullshit, and just kind of build your roster. You know what I'm saying?
Although
for me,
the thing is,
you can go here.
They've invested a lot of money, time, etc., in this tournament style, specifically PFL. We've seen other promotions taking up the tournament style. For example, AKO out in Nigeria, which is Kamaru Usman's promotion. So from the tournament style standpoint, they are the only ones doing it. Maybe they can get it right. I don't know. But also with the Bellator side, I agree that they should drop the brand. I think that they can work together. They can have PFL and Bellator. Why? Because they're completely different formats. So you can still have a Bellator fight at a PFL, because PFL is tournament style and Bellator is your normal, we fight because that guy and him, yeah, let's fight. It's cool. So I think they can coexist. But because of what the Bellator brand was and where it came from, you might rather have it being called the PFL something rather than maintaining the Bellator name. Because when we hear the Bellator name, we have a certain mindset about it. So I think they can still keep sort of the both formats, but the naming is just, it's not working. It's just, like you said, it's confusing. You go to the website, what am I really looking at? Who's the champion of what? We should have finalized it after that Clash of the Champions. But I mean, now everyone's still running around with their titles and the different promotions. So I hope they can make it work. I think it can work as both. And I think the tournament style does have some value, depending on how you do it. But yeah, let's hope that they can get it together soon.
Blammy?
No, like for me, like I do agree with you as well. But for me, I was like, I just want to see what they're planning, because they might be onto something that we don't know. So let's see what's the plan is. And at first, when PFL started, and then I saw this whole thing, the point formats and stuff, I was like, man, that's bullshit. Like I'll say, fighting is about, hey, yes, I want to fight. Yeah, put the contract here. Let's sign it. Let's get in there. Yeah, throw hands, bang, bang, fight together. It's not about, yeah, okay, jab, 5 points. Oh, shit, nah, choke him. Nah, we got 10 points.
Karate Point Championship.
Bro.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see. So I'm like, okay, let's see what's their plan is. And at the end of the day, we can only judge them after a year or two after they've applied what they say they wanted to do. Then we can be like, oh,
see where it goes. And one more specifically for you, mate, is obviously PFL Africa's just been set up. I know you're with the EFC. You're next in line for a title shot against Luke Michaels. You guys had some beef. We're going to get onto that in a minute. I enjoyed the little press conference. We're going to get into that in a second. But if the opportunity rose, would you be in attendance? Would you go along to a PFL Africa event? And two, would you consider joining the promotion if the offer or the opportunity ever became available?
Well, look. For me, in the EFC, the belt is also one of the things that I want. Collection is definitely part of it all, and I want to collect before I can leave. So at this stage, I feel like I'm gonna ask for at least a fight or two in the EFC before I can leave, because I really want to get that belt before I can leave. Getting that belt, then I can decide, okay, now, do I want to go or do I want to stay? Mm-hmm. Obviously, the money talks. Money definitely talks, because the PFL will come out and be like, yeah, we'll offer you this and that and that. It's difficult to say no, but at the moment, I'm still building a name. I'm still chasing what would bring the money, and that will definitely be glory. So there's definitely something we're still chasing there.
Yeah, go for the glory before the pennies start rolling in. But obviously, a minute ago you said not really into the tournament, but when you see 500 grand at the end of the tournament line, you're like, yeah, I could walk through a few of those guys. You put 500 grand in front of me, like. And a side note, I've just been approved for PFL Europe in Glasgow next week to go and attend as media. So I actually need to reply to the email, because I'm trying to sort it out and see what I can do, whether I'm going to go to the press conference or just to the event. But yeah, side note. So I ain't gonna sit here and say too much because I don't want to get to the event and for them to tell me, yeah, you spoke some shit. You can get to fuck. You know what I mean? So we'll keep it clean, and I'll get some interviews in the bag first. But you're all bang on with the points that you've made. Like when I first started looking at the PFL and I started trying to watch it, I was like, hang on, wait a minute, what's going on here? And I had to kind of go and like check things out because I was like, all of these dudes are welterweight. So like, what's like, or whatever it was, whatever tournament was going on that night, I was like, what's going on with this? Like, it's the same weight class, fight after fight after fight. And then once I actually realized how it works and what was going on, I was like, right, cool. And then, as I said before, Bellator, like, I think what they could do with it is literally just go, right, here's a handful of fighters that we're going to take. The rest of you, sorry, thanks for your time, adios, whatever it looks like. And I think some of the fighters must be in a bit of limbo at the moment with that too. So I think it will help some fighters' careers rather than sitting and thinking, oh, what's going on, where we going, how's this all going to work? You know what I mean? Because that must be a troubling thing for some fighters that are struggling to get matchups at the minute because of the way that this is set up, and they're literally just in the gym training, and they're probably thinking, what for? Because they ain't getting a fight. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's definitely how that needs to go. But anyway, boys, we've been running this round for 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I just want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us tonight, listening to my random ramblings as I've taken over this show. But before we get out of here, I'm coming back to you, Bambi. Let's get on to that press conference, brother. You, Luke Michaels. What are we saying, bro? What are we saying? We got like there was some wind-up merchant work going on in there. Like you got under the man's, and we've spoke to Luke. He's been on the show plenty of times. I get along with Luke. I've got along with you. You know what I mean? You're both absolute gentlemen. You're both really like sound to talk to and sit down, break down fights and talk to this stuff about. But you even said in that thing, it's nothing personal. It's just work. How are you feeling in that moment as you were going through it? You could see the smile on your face too.
No, like, Rev, it's so surprising. I was talking about it yesterday, I think. I was like, dude, Luke Michael is a guy that I want to really fight. And I don't want to fight him because it's emotional. I really want to fight him because I just want to give him nothing to talk about after that. I respect him, but I want to give him nothing to talk about, literally, after the fight, because he's always has something to talk about after a fight for me. He complains a lot, and I do not like that. So the reason I want to fight him is the only reason is like I want to give him nothing, because like after the fight I'll be like, okay, do you have anything else you want to say? Thank you. Thank you. That's it. So like for me, in the press, as I sat there, I could see how anxious he is, how emotional he gets, and it's not something good. And I was very calm, and I was, like I said, I wasn't trying to disrespect him. I was showing him respect, and I was just giving my opinion. And he said something about me getting knocked out, and it didn't bother me. I'm like, yeah, you're really trying too hard. It's the best you can do at the moment. And yeah, he started on social media. He definitely started it, and he went as far as going to my DM, literally DMing me. And that just shows me how mature he is as a champion.
So that's how many times did the DMs go back and forth then? Was it just a couple of words, or has it gone deep yet?
Damn it. There's a couple of stuff that, you know, after beating him up, I will definitely put him out there. For the people to see, I'll definitely put him out there, because like, he made me laugh really hard, because like I say, he showed me how mature he is as a champion, and that's all I needed to see. His maturity level is that much as a champ, and all the respect I had for him washed away.
Oh, the window now. Yeah. It's just time to fight. Have we got a date? Have they started talking about that yet, or?
Like, look, man is still doing a bit of a, like, I call it Call of Duty is busy tacking. Like, you know, when you want to play Call of Duty, you got the matches all tacking on the bullets.
So on that one, Luke is actually booked for a title fight against Zakir Badat for the
in
welterweight
December.
title
In
December
December,
before he fights Plan B.
So he's got a fight in December, and I'm gonna ask Graham if I can go watch that fight live.
You're not going to put your name forward as a backup fighter just in case anything goes down?
Would be fun because I'm still gonna train anyway.
Wait, can you make welterweight, Plan B?
I if that man becomes a champion there, I'll cut a limb to go chase him. I'm gonna be that man's nightmare, brother. I'm that
Alex
man's
Pereira
nightmare
to his
now.
Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if Bambi's making welterweight. You're a big dude, man. You know what I mean? Like you're a big dude.
Yes. So, but like, look, he's fighting Badat welterweight for the title before me. That's why I'm gonna sit back and let him do his thing. They're offering maybe March with him, and they said if I want to fight now, they're gonna have to see who they can offer me now for maybe an interim title to just keep me waiting until March next year. So we're still talking about that. We're still talking about either that or give Luke a hard time. But I'm like, no, let Luke have a good time because I don't want Luke to cry.
But Bambi's saying just let me cook. You're just gonna stay in those DMs for the next few months and just start picking him with some zingers, bro, and just wait until that fight comes round.
I'm still alive, brother. I'm still.
I see the game plan. Sick. Right. Anyway, let's wrap this up, people. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you are following. Kick him in the head. You know what I mean? Jump onto Yao's channel. Drop him a sub. Drop him some likes. Check out the content. Yeah, what have you got going on, bro?
So going on, I need to shout out to Versus. Versus 10 had their first pro promotion fight this past Saturday. Honestly, it was what I would say is a precursor, a taste of what UFC Africa could be. There was at least 5,000 people strong in the arena watching people who are 0-0 in the middle of a random Pretoria. So imagine if you bring Drickus and the UFC here to defend his UFC middleweight title. I mean, it's going to be absolutely electric. So that's something that we had going on. We have a sit down with Cameron Simon coming up. We know Cameron Simon, the UFC bantamweight fighter who recently fought Peyton Talbot, one of the rising superstars. We have interviews coming up with Nick Kwende. Nick will be fighting against Nkosi the Future in the Bella at Brave in Bahrain coming up real soon for the bantamweight title. So we've got a lot coming up. So definitely do tune in. Stay tuned, everyone, at HeadKickPod on all platforms.
Jamming. Jax, you've been putting the content out there, brother. I'm loving the videos. There was a little bit of you in those clips that I made today. I took a little bit of what you've been making them. I like how he does these, man, and I banged it into those little clips that I done today. So let me know what you've got coming, and make sure you're dropping your socials there for people to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, we are going back to dropping podcast episodes. So not only the video podcast, but also audio. So Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, whatever you use to get podcasts, we're on there. But this Monday we did a episode with Ola was on the episode. We were just talking about that was before the sickness kicked in, so he was healthy on that one. And then we also had E. Spencer K.E.I.T.H. He writes for the UFC for UFC.com and Fighters Only. So we had a couple of dope people on there. And yeah, like you said, we're going to keep pushing out some pretty weekly content, you know, video essays, all that good stuff. And as far as following, Twitter _ or walk _ MMA, and then Instagram making the walk.mma.
Boom. Sterling, smack it out, bro. I know you've had a power slap guest on recently. Also had myself. You got anybody else lined up?
We got MMA coach coming on this we got y'all.
No, I'm saying line me up, Sterling. Sorry.
Yeah, you know I'm down, baby. Let's get it going. I'll DM you. So I got Yao coming up. I also got a local MMA coach coming on Thursday from Houston, Texas, Eric Valdez. He coaches at the gym that we're at, Muay Thai. I have a Muay Thai fight coming up November 3rd. As we get closer, I'll send more stuff out, folks. Gonna take a little break from MMA. But yeah, boys, we took a couple months off. We took an L, and I just was in my feelings, but we're back. Like McDane just said, I had a power slap welterweight champ on this past Saturday, Anthony Blackburn. Me and McDane were on this past Monday doing the UFC 306 Noche recap. Check it out. It's S-Dogs MMA Talk, SDAWG. I'm looking forward to have all these gentlemen on soon too as well. So y'all folks be tuned to check it out. Check these folks out. And I can't wait for your fight as well, brother.
Thank you very much.
And again, same to you, Bambi, mate. Drop your socials so people know where to come and follow you. And if you're not already, people, make sure you are staying tuned in to the action that's going to be following this Luke Michaels fight, because this is going to be some Conor McGregor-esque back and forth for this banter. I think it's going to be interesting. So where can we find you, bro?
Okay, yeah. So on the social and Instagram will be Blamby_Shedrick, and same and Facebook as well, and Twitter, which we call X right now, would be Shedrick_Blamby. Yes, the same name.
Boom, same name across all socials, nice and easy. I'm gonna need to get you on Twitter as well, bro. I've only got you on Instagram. Never even know you had a Twitter. I just call it Twitter all the time. I'm not calling it X, man. That shit sounds horrible. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and make sure you're dropping a sub if you're not already. If you're tuning in today to the Fight Week show, obviously the host with the mostest isn't here today. Ola, hope you're feeling well, brother. Thanks for letting me jump on and take the reins on this one. And then myself, the rambling dad, go and check me out. Like I say, I've got some PFL media work coming up. I'm going to be lining. I actually had, until my mother fell ill last week or the week before, and I had to have a couple of weeks away. I had a few amateur and one professional fighter lined up from the UK MMA scene. So I need to get those lined back up. And then I've also got another guy that I'm trying to get on too. So stay tuned for that. I'll get all of this stuff lined up. And just like my man Jax is doing, I'm trying to come out with some different stuff. I'm doing interviews all the time, doing lives all the time. I'm going to start trying to do some MMA news, and this was these clips tonight were a little trial run for me and testing, making that kind of content, and it was enjoyable. So
you did good, bro. Hey, those were nice.
And thanks, big shout out to Leroy for making that little background for me real quick this morning. So yeah, right. Anyway, up until the next one, people, we are out.
Salute.
Peace.
Hey guys, this is John Anik from the UFC. You're watching the Fight Week show. Please subscribe. Not now, but right now. Subscribe to the Fight Week show. We'll see you.